Okay guys, this is going to be a video for Christian gaming. I want to talk about the pricing of Xbox consoles in particular and read an article here on the internet about this, okay? So effective August 1st, 2026, we'll be updating prices worldwide. The price of Xbox consoles will increase by $100 US for the 512 gigabyte models and 150 US for the 1 terabyte. We'll also be sunsetting the 2 terabyte model. Okay. Last October, the Xbox increased the console price by $20 to $70. Okay. So from 20 to 70, so 20 for the Series S and 70 for the Series X, right? Okay. And we hoped another price increase would not be necessary. Well, these prices increase are not necessary. I'll explain that here in a second, okay? And we have spent the last several months working with suppliers on options. Unfortunately, console storage and memory prices have increased by more than 2.5 times. And we expect another doubling. Now, that's the key word, doubling. So if you take the price of what it is now, it's going to go double that, okay? I don't see how anyone's going to be able to afford gaming. I'm not even joking, okay? It's going to be double that by the fall of 2027. The entire consumer electronics industry is struggling with the current components crisis, but the effects are particularly hard on consoles, unlike phones, computers, speakers, and other consumer devices. Consoles are typically not sold at a profit, but instead for less than the cost to make. I highly doubt that. I don't buy into their propaganda machine. I just don't buy into anything that they say. I don't. You can't trust these people. And the problem is when you got influencers out there on YouTube that, tell you BS and you buy into the BS, that's where the problem is. Okay, all right? So I'm not going to go into the buy now, pay later and all the different price plans that they have. I think it's just stupid to begin with, okay? So here's the problem right now. I'm going to speak in Canadian. I spent $450 for my Series S. I just look up on the eStore here, okay? And the eStore has the Series S at $650 right now. That's a $200 price increase. It was $450 when I bought it, and now it's at $650. That's $200. That's half the price of the original Series S. Keep that in mind, okay? And then for the Series S, 1 terabyte is $750. That's an extra $100 more for just an extra 512 gigabytes of space, okay? Now here's the real problem of this whole thing. Xbox did it to themselves with this price increase, right? And I don't see anybody buying next gen either because of these prices. I think it's going to be ridiculously insane. Because if they are actually going to double this, I couldn't even go, I couldn't justify, it's not a matter of if you can afford it or not, right? Okay. It's not about affordability. It's about how do you condone this, right? Because here's the problem with the industry, okay? You gamers, meaning you guys, okay? Not me, because I'm not part of this crowd. And if you're not part of this crowd, then don't count yourself in it, okay? But I'm saying you gamers. That's a generality. If you internalize things and make things personal, that's on you, man, okay? Use a brain. Use common sense. But you gamers, you guys buy the slop. You guys continue to buy things at full price, okay? And you just don't care. Now here's the thing. You need a roof over your head. You need clothes on your back. You need food on the table. This is a hobby, right? And you want to know something? It's a heck of a lot more cheaper if you go out and buy retro games and retro consoles than if you do modern gaming. And let's face it, when you bought the Series S, and this is why I bought it, okay? You bought it because you wanted the backwards compatibility. You wanted the older games because you didn't care about graphics because it's 1080p, right? It's not 4K. If you wanted that, you would go with this Series X, right? Okay, and I can just imagine what those prices are like, and if you want me to look it up, I will here in a second, okay? But my point being is this, is that I can't justify it. That's what I was looking for, right? There's no way to justify these price increases, okay? There's not. There's no way to justify us, the consumer, paying these kind of prices. When you start to think about it, you could probably get yourself a really good gaming PC at this price, at this point, right? You got people in Canada dumpster diving for food. So let's do a reality check here, okay? All right. $650 for 512 gigabytes when you only get 364 usable. Keep that in mind. And to double that capacity would cost you an extra $100, and that's at $750. That's the price of the Series X when it launched. It launched at about $850 Canadian, right? Okay. So that is just insane. And now they're saying here, according to this article, that they expect it to double by the fall of 2027. And this is where we're at, realistically, okay? So already the Series S is going for $650 for half a terabyte, and then for a full terabyte, it's going for $750. That's just insane. When the Series S first came out with the 512 gigabyte model, it was only $450. Okay? So now I don't know what they mean by doubling. Right now, this is the thing, right? They say it's expected to another doubling by the fall of 2027. Does that mean it's going to double the amount that they added on to, or is it going to go double the price of the console now? That's kind of like tricky wording, right? So it shot up, let's see now, $200, right? Okay. It was $450, now it's $650. So does that mean it's going to shoot up an extra $400? Or does that mean they're going to take the $650 and shoot it up to double that at $1,200? You see where I'm going? 12 or 13, right? That's what I mean. But even if they double it from 200 to 400, and now that makes the Series S $1,000 Canadian, over $1,000. It's $650 now. You add on an extra $400 to that, that's $1,050 for the Series S. That is completely insane and ridiculous, especially when they said that the Helix one is going to be $1,000 American, right? And that's another thing too. Like, you know, you're pricing people out of your own market. Now, why is all this happening? Because this is the key component, right? Because Microsoft, not Xbox, Microsoft has AI data centers, and they're spending tens of billions of dollars, okay? All right, so let me just see now where that says here. Anyway, I read it in this article here. I just can't find it here. They're spending tens of billions of dollars on the AI data centers, okay? That's what's causing everything to go up with Microsoft, right? So if you buy Microsoft products, everything's going to go up substantially more than the rest of the global market, okay? Like Nintendo, Sony, you know, that kind of stuff, right? Okay? So that's the whole thing here. Now they're coming up with all these different payment plans, and I disagree with that because I think it's just stupid anyway. How do you justify 650 Canadian right now, and then if they up it to over $1,000 Canadian for only 512 gigabytes? And here's the kicker too, right, that no one's talking about. I mean, literally no one's mentioning this part. I've never heard this talked about at all. This is storage consoles. This isn't a console that was just made right now. These are consoles that are still sitting in storage. So it's not like they spent a bunch of money to take it out of storage to do this, okay? You know what I mean? It's not like they. Let me rephrase that. It's not like they spent extra money, okay, on the consoles because they just made it. Is what I'm trying to say, right? This is old stock, is what I'm saying, and they just decided we're going to increase the old stock, okay, because the prices are going up. Well, we should get the old prices for the old stock. We shouldn't pay the new prices unless they made a new machine. They didn't. That's the thing, right? Okay. So you got a double-edged sword here. They're driving up the prices because they're chasing immortality. That's what the AI data centers are all about, okay? Because they want to be immortal because they're afraid to die. Okay? That's the truth. All this is biblical. Like everything that's going on in the world nowadays is biblical. All right? Okay? So, common sense to me is just like, I'm going to go with my Sega Genesis, man. It still works. I'm going to go with my PS3. It still works. Okay? That's what common sense is. I can get a Sega Genesis for $60 to $80 Canadian for the hardware. And I can get games anywhere from $5 all the way up to, well, hundreds of dollars, right? Okay. So I just buy games that were within my price range. That's what I do. How much am I willing to pay for a console? That's what I'll pay for. How much am I willing to pay for a game? That's what I'll pay for. Now, games, Canadian, I go 60 to 80. I will not spend any more than 80 Canadian on a game. Okay? And that includes modern gaming. All right? I got a Series S for a reason. It was $450. That's a budget console. It's not a budget console anymore. It's $650 for the same console I got. Right? Okay? So if this breaks down and that kind of stuff, I am not forking out more money to buy a new one. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to go right back to my retro library, which is what I use the Series S for anyway. It's retro gaming, okay? And that's it. Because with that price hike coming in 2027 and the price it's at right now, I can't justify it. I don't care how much money I made. I would be like, I'm not paying that. Why would I pay that for that machine? You know? And they're saying, oh, you know what? We sell it at a decrease. That's BS. That's total BS. That's total bunkus. You know, no, people don't fact check these things and don't look into it to find out. Just because Xbox says something doesn't mean that's true. And just because YouTubers report on things doesn't mean it's true. That's where you got to do your homework on it and fact check it. And when you actually look into the problems with Xbox in particular, their problem is because they're chasing immortality with the AI data centers. And they're spending tens of billions of dollars on that. Look at how ridiculous they were with spending money on acquiring, and this is Xbox now, on acquiring businesses like Bethesda and BioWare and all these other companies that they bought, right? Like, one of the ones that they bought was like, what, $70 billion or some stupid thing like that? It was freaking insane. I'm trying to remember now which one that was. But there was a group of companies that they bought, and then there were ones individually. They bought Bethesda, you know what I mean? And look at what they've done with it. Like, they've literally run their own company into the ground. Asher Sharma is admitting that their mass market of gamers are not going to be able to afford their machines. And they're going to be selling them with a whole bunch of different price plans. That's not a smart idea. Because what if it breaks down in the meantime? What if you have problems with it? It's got to go to the repair shop. You know what I'm saying? And that's more cost to you. Like, you got to think about this smart, right? You got to be intelligent about this, right? Like, seriously. People got to stop mocking stuff and start actually being intelligent, right? Because it's not intelligent mocking. So what I see here, I see a really big problem in the industry. Because now you're charging insane prices that only a moron or an idiot would pay. And yes, I would say you're an idiot if you buy this stuff. The only way that these companies are going to get away with this kind of stuff is if we buy it. And I encourage everybody out there that watches me not to buy it. Don't go for the Helix. Don't go, instead, go retro. Seriously, find an older console you enjoy and game off of that. And most of you guys are already doing that. Some of you are on a PlayStation, some of you are on a Nintendo. I myself am on a Sega Genesis. I got a PS3. You know, like, I don't need anything, right? The whole reason I bought a Series S, and the only reason, was for the backwards compatibility. That's it. I just wanted to play the older games because that's what I enjoy. I really don't like the new games. I don't like modern gaming because of the alphabet soup and all the other nonsense that's going on. What you guys call wokeism, right? Okay. But these prices going up and the cost of modern games too is insane. Because now let's look at GTA 6, right? And actually let's look at the other consoles there too, right? And then we'll have a look at GTA 6. But let's look at the hardware here, okay? There it is right there, okay? So let's go Xbox consoles, okay? All right, so currently the Xbox Series X 2 terabyte, which they're going to cancel, is at $880 Canadian. And I bet you if I click on that, I bet you can't get it. No, yeah, see, it's out of stock. See, they did discontinue it. It's not there anymore, right? Okay. So the 1 terabyte, here's why. Okay, so that was $880. Check this out. The 1 terabyte is at $950. And then they got another one at $999. 1,000. What? Hang on. Maybe this is not it. 1 second, guys. No, that's out of stock too. So they raised the price of that all the way up to $999. $1,000 for the Series X Canadian. Let me see if I can get that. Yeah. $1,000 for the Series X Canadian. I can't justify that. It's gaming. Okay. Now let's look at the consoles here. The Series S, 1 terabyte, $750. No, that's not going to be it. Let's click on it. Nope, it's removed. Okay. Series S at $650. That'll probably be the half a terabyte. Yeah, see, there we go. $650 for half a terabyte. Okay. The $750 was for a full terabyte. Now let's see what it's going for a full terabyte now. $620 for a full terabyte. Well, that's the Series X. Okay, so let's see the Series S. And see, you get a discount from Microsoft for this, right? So that's the 512 gigabyte, $650. Okay. But here's the thing. The 1 terabyte Series X is $620. Nope, it's out of stock too. See? So the only thing you can buy is the Series X at $1,000, which is 1 terabyte. Okay. And the Series S at $650 for half a terabyte, right? Half a gigabyte. Remember, only 364 of it is usable, a gigabyte. So no, like, I don't care what anybody says. I can't justify that at all, right? And let me know what you feel down in the comment section, because that's an important part of all this, right? Is you guys commenting, you know. I don't justify that. So I think what's going to happen to Xbox is that they are going to sink their own ship because no one's going to buy it. Now let me see. Can I get the Series S? Yes, at 650. Can I get it at 750 for the 1 TB? Nope, it's gone. So the Series S at 1 TB is gone. So I might as well take that off my list there, right? The Series S is only available for 0.5 TB at 650. That's it. The other one is gone. That is insane. That's insane. So the Series X now is at $1,000, and the Series S is at 650. Those are the only two you can buy. You can't get anything else. They don't even have the 1 TB model for the Series S. See, when they say it's out of stock, what they're really saying is we discontinued it. That's what they mean, because this is the digital store, right? So everything that's available would be in a digital store. And there you go. There's the problem. So the only one you can buy is the Series S, 0.5 GB at 650. And that's going to go up in price too. And then the Series X for like, $1,000. And that's it. There are no other options to buy any of the consoles. That is just ludicrous. And now it's set to go up in 2027, right? And that is criminally, and I'm going to say it's criminal. 100% I'm going to say it's criminal. That is criminally insane. Okay. Now that we did that, let's look at the pricing of Grand Theft Auto 6. Okay, all right. Let's see what this is going to be at. So coming soon, GTA 6, okay, is going to be $140 Canadian. 140, all right. Oh, and you can pre-order it too. Yeah, we don't even know if it's going to be good or not because we got nothing. And you know what's interesting is that the Series S pays the same prices as the Series X. If graphics matter, then the price should come down. And also it should come down because they're doing digital copies. They're not doing physical. Right? Physical should cost more than digital. Digital is just a code. Right? So this whole thing about gaming costing more money is a bunch of BS too. So I don't play that game. Like I told you guys before, right? What I do is I wait for everything to go on sale and I buy a game for like $20 or less. I do not pay full price ever, and that's the whole thing. That's for the games. And then the console, I go, okay, is it worth that much money? And I go, hell no. The Series S at $450, yes, that seemed reasonable to me. But anything higher than that, even an extra $50, like $500 or more, I would be like, no, right? The Series X, what the original price was, that's why I stayed away from it. Because of the price of it. And I was just like, no, right? Hard no, I'm not doing that. And so I'm not paying these insane prices because Microsoft wants to chase immortality with the AI data centers by pumping in tens of billions of dollars into AI data centers on these RAM chips. That's what's causing them to go up. Okay? And everybody's paying the price right now because the market is doing this all over the place. Okay? Now let's just look at WWE, right? Okay? Because they have insane prices. Okay, so let's look at the most current one. That'd be like what, 2026 here? So let's see the prices here. $200? Whoa, how much is that one? What the hell? Holy cow. These guys are really running a cash cow. Yeah, gaming's not worth it. It's just not. You're better off taking your money, okay, and buying stuff like a retro gaming console that you enjoy. I'll play the Series S until it breaks down, and if it does break down, I'm not buying that. Oh, I wonder what the controllers are going at. Let's just take a look at that. Out of curiosity, I wonder if the controllers are going up in price too, right? Let's look at controllers. I'm just talking about their normal controller. You know what I mean? $85 Canadian for a controller now. That's insane. That's crazy. And their controllers don't last that long neither, you know, right? So I'm just like, yeah, no. Like, honestly, this is the problem, right? So I'm just going to play what I got for what I got for as long as I got it. And then if anything breaks down, I'm just done. I'm not buying this stuff. I'm not buying into this. You know, I'm not buying the slop. I'm not paying these kind of prices. If you guys do, that's your business, but honestly, I'd say you're an idiot. I really would. Because why are you so desperate for gaming like that? Why don't you just go out and buy a freaking used console at a retro gaming store and pick up a retro console for a fraction of the price? You see what I'm saying? And that's where I'm coming from in the end with all this, right? Is that all of this can be avoided. How? You go out and you buy a console you enjoy and you play the older stuff. Buy up a used 360. Buy up Xbox One. Buy up whatever. PS3, whatever. Like, you know, me, Sega Genesis, hands down. I got one. I got the Street Fighter games. I got the Mortal Kombat. I got hockey. I got RPGs. I got so much stuff. I don't need this stuff. I got fighting games, you know, like all sorts of stuff, right? See, they need us. We don't need them. And if we don't pay these prices and we start supporting these companies because they're chasing immortality, like let this sink in. This is why pricing is going up even for food. Because the elites are chasing immortality. And they're using the AI to do it for them. So that by 2030, they won't die. And that's in the Bible. And what's also in the Bible? Oh, the price of food is going up a day's pay. Yeah, it's already there. And everything is increasing and increasing and increasing more and more and more to the point you can't afford to get a place to live. And you're lucky if you can rent it. You'll never be able to own. I'll leave the video at that. I think it speaks for itself. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. You put your 2 cents worth down there. I enjoy reading your comments. I do my best to get back to everybody, you know. And God bless you. But honestly, I don't justify gaming at this. Okay? And this is because, understand this, this is not because of terrorists. This is because of them pumping in tens of billions of dollars into the AI data centers so that they can become immortal because they're afraid to die. They're afraid to face God. They're afraid to face Jesus. And they're so afraid of that here's the kicker. I'll put in an extra little bit here for you guys that hung around, okay? That they're pushing back the book of Revelations. They saw that the Euphrates River was drying up and they realized that that was significant to releasing the 4 angels, that now they're salting the sky so that it rains over the Euphrates, trying to delay the second coming of Jesus Christ. That's how they're afraid they are of God, right? Because they realize they're on the wrong side of God. They want to be God. Okay? So those are the ones that God really takes out his wrath on. Okay? We just need to apologize to God for our sins and do our best not to sin. And that's basically it. Accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you're fine. They refuse to do that. They want to be God. They want to be worshipped as gods. They're not God, right? So we got to be really careful because we're in dangerous times right now, okay? So that's a little bit of Bible for you, and that's a little bit, and a lot more of the gaming stuff. But that's why everything's going up. It's in the Bible, guys. All this is biblical. Not joking. So, yeah, that's my video. Thanks for watching, guys. God bless. Have a good one. Take care of yourselves, and thanks for being here. I appreciate you.